Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Zelda Cast here on ZeldaDungeon.net. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined by Allison Aletha on this fine Sunday. Al, how are you today, my friend?
I'm fine, but I'm more interested to hear how you're doing right now. You're looking a little needled up.
I am anticipating one of my worst performances on this podcast today. I can't lie to you. Yeah, I feel like okay. Like I didn't sleep at all last night. I had a huge headache after I got home from my tattoo appointment, and so I'm getting a sleeve, everyone, and it is Zelda related, and it took a long time, and it was my first tattoo, so it was a long day, and it took like 4 hours to get the stenciling right. So long story short, it was a long day, and I got another long day ahead of me as soon as we are done this podcast. So
hmm
yeah,
It's exciting though.
yeah.
There's no pain, no gain, right? So the pain part sucks, but like after it heals and whatnot, it's just gonna look awesome, and you're gonna have a sick sleeve. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, it'll be worth it in the end. But we do have some trials and tribulations to go through before we
hmm
get there. So, um, yeah. So all things considered, doing pretty. You know what? I can't complain. So doing well. So yeah. Today is going to be a normal episode, though. I will say there's no 2.5 hour whopper coming your way today. We have one over the list, going through the top 40 moments in the Zelda series. I thought those episodes were great. Um,
hmm
I was really excited when we got to reveal number one to you.
Yeah,
Because
because I
I
didn't know.
I pushed for that like big time.
That was fun. I didn't really anticipate that I was going to be doing that for these episodes. It was more so I just like kind of, I don't know, I guess I wanted to be surprised on the day. And then I was like, I'm just going to be surprised the whole time is what I'm going to do. And that's what we did. And I
Yeah.
was like, when I didn't see the trailer like farther up, I was just like, there's no way it's on this list anymore. Like when we got to the top 10, I was like, it's not on this list. So I was a bit bummed. But then for it to be number one is like amazing. Like, so I was really excited about that.
I mean, that
It
was
was
just
pretty cool.
like that was such an incredible moment. Like it
hmm
really was. Like for a new generation of fans. Like we kind of you said it very succinctly. Like for a lot of people, it was Twilight Princess, but like for a lot of people, it was Breath of the Wild. So
hmm
yeah, that trailer I think was the very deserving number one overall. But yeah, so we got a little bit of a later show today. We've got some news that we want to cover. We wanted to react to some happenings in the Zelda world, and then we're just gonna answer a couple of daily debates, and then we'll get things going. But one thing that I did want to kick this show off with, Al,
hmm
I forgot to show this to you last week, so bear with me and cover for me as I go and grab you this peripheral to show you. Okay?
I have no idea what he's talking about. He's going to get something, and oh, he was talking about it last week. He's going to show us now. Okay, I'm excited. I'm
It's
excited.
here. We've got the Virtual Boy in
Wow,
live and in living color. I
that's amazing.
I'm not gonna lie. So I can't remember if I showed this thing last week or not, or said that I
You
got
did
it.
not.
So
You talked about it.
I was having a really rough day a couple of weeks ago, and then like this thing showed up, and I was like, my mood completely turned around. So
hmm
I've played a couple minutes of it, and I've probably like 30 minutes. It gave me a headache, so it lived
Yeah,
up to the legend. But you can play Breath of the Wild VR in this thing, and I'm
that's
gonna do it.
wild. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, so that we might have to do a show on that because I have inside information that I am not the only person that has got this Virtual Boy
Oh,
headset.
okay.
So we'll have to see what we can do there.
hmm
But yeah, so last week was kind of a busy week, and not for Zelda. As we talked about, the anniversary kind of came and went, and we'll talk about that today because a lot of people were upset about that. But one anniversary that really didn't come and go without any fanfare was the Pokemon 30th anniversary. So there
hmm
were a ton. What were they? Switch icons? Is that right? Where like every character
No,
had a 30th?
No, I don't think they're the Switch icons. I think they're just icons in general for
Mm,
every character, every Pokemon. There's like a 30th kind of like background to them now that kind
right.
of matches their vibe, I guess I would say. Like literally every 1025 Pokemon, I think that's where we're at right now, got an icon.
Right.
So, wild.
Um, and there was a Pokemon Presents, and this actually happened what like last Thursday or last Friday, but we knew that we were gonna go into overtime with our 40th anniversary list for Zelda, so we kind of wanted to hold off on talking about that until this week, and there's a lot of Pokemon news to actually talk about. So
Hmm.
I think that we should probably start though, Al, with the big announcement of Gen 10.
Gen 10. I'm so excited. Pokemon Wins and Pokemon Waves, or Weewa, as
Can,
we're calling it.
can we take a second? I actually really like that name, and I kind of really liked the idea that Pokemon was moving away from like naming its games like colors. So that's when I was like Scarlet and Violet. I was like, yeah, that's like
Yeah.
step backwards. It seems like
Hmm.
a little bit, but I thought that like X and Y was really cool. Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, like those are really cool names. I thought, and I think that
Hmm.
Winds and Waves are like cool names as well. That look like they fit into the theme. Like it looks like it's got kind of a like a Polynesian theme going on there.
Yeah, I'm not too sure where we're going. I think there's a lot of like theories like the Polynesian vibe or Indonesia or whatever.
Philippines,
I
I've
thought
I've heard, yeah.
yeah, and I'm totally down for all of those. I got a little confusing vibe from like the avatars and their outfits kind of gave me like Outback Safari vibes. So I was like a little bit confused there, but I think the avatars look cute. I think I'm gonna miss that they like when we went to Pokemon Legends ZA, our characters were older. I feel like they were in their late teens, like 18. Well, and it kind of feels like we're going back a little bit to being like early teens, maybe. So I'm gonna miss being a little bit older. I like being a little bit older in the Pokemon world. I'd love for like more of an adult game.
Yeah.
But anyways, it looks like we're going back to maybe like 14, 15. They look cute, they look fun, they're ready for adventure. And the overall world looks amazing. I think the winds and waves is gonna mean that like based on the end of that trailer, we can go underwater. Like there's paths underwater, and maybe we could do a lot of like flying around and stuff like that, which we've had in past Pokemon games, but it was more like a glide than a fly. So I'm interested to see what like winds and waves really means.
Hmm.
So I'm super excited. I think it looks amazing. It looks incredible. It looks like such a ramp up from Scarlet and Violet. And Scarlet and Violet looked like a ramp up from Sword and Shield. So I love the evolution. And I love that they're taking longer for this game to come out because I want them to take their time.
Yeah, that so it comes out in 2027. I was like pretty impressed by this trailer as well. I still like I'm still gonna hold Pokemon accountable to like this game looks great. I think the water specifically looks great. I think that
Mhm.
like the world itself, like the character models and stuff like that, I think that could really use like a revamp. And I think that like I don't know if these games look as good as they should for like the biggest media company in the world with the Pokemon company, but nevertheless,
Mhm.
um, I thought that the setting looked really cool, and I think I'm excited for this. Like I'm gonna pick this one up. I did not get Scarlet and Violet, and I just I don't know why. I think it didn't capture me. I don't think when I saw it, but this one I think looks really cool. I will say, so I'm looking at these three starters, Al. I
Mhm.
was like, I 100%, I know I've seen these starters in a Pokemon game before.
Mhm.
Like, and I get like I haven't, but they look identical to some of the other starters that we have. Like the grass starter, I was just like, this guy looks exactly like Rowlet. The water
Mhm.
starter, I was like, this guy looks exactly like
Sobble, maybe
Sobble, yeah, the one that turns into like the assassin or whatever at the
the
end.
sniper
The
lizard. Yeah.
sniper, yeah, yeah. And the fire starter, I mean, it just kind of looks like a lot of different Pokemon, I think.
Hmm. I think when you get to have like 1,000 plus Pokemon,
It's
you kind
tough.
of like it's tough. I personally like all of them. I think they look really cute. I don't know. I usually wait until I see the full evolutionary line before I
Yeah,
decide
yeah.
what I want. But like based on these guys, we got Brout, the grass bird, Pombon, the fire dog, and Gekwa, the water lizard. And I'm like, we've had multiple water lizards, so I was kind of like, about that. But I think he looks really cool, like as a little gecko. And I think my favorite of the bunch is probably Brout. Yeah,
I
that's where
want the
I'm at.
chicken. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, Brout.
yeah.
You said you're normally a grass type
I'm
starter,
always
right?
a grass type starter anyways, so like I would have selected him, but yeah, you know what,
I
as much
mean,
as I say like these look familiar, like I'm sure
yeah,
the final evolutions will look different.
if the final evolution of Brout does not look like Decidueye, like then that's a win, I think, and it would be awesome.
Yeah. So one of the first things that that just popped up when I googled Pokemon Winds and Waves, of course, is like, oh, the starters just leaked their final forms, and obviously this is not the real. This is not legitimate at all. But there's
Hmm.
already some pretty cool mock-ups out there for like what these final forms could look like.
Yeah. When it comes to like leaked information, technically Winds and Waves was being leaked a long time ago, and I would see the information and I would just like scroll past it because I'm like, I don't want to know and have leaks, and two, I don't really believe a lot of the leaks. But technically,
Hmm.
they were kind of correct with Winds and Waves. They did say that's what the next gen was going to be. So yeah, maybe there are leaks. Maybe there were like some, I don't know what data miners do, but maybe there's some of that. But yeah, I do see some of the mock-ups too, and they look cool. But I think a lot of people were like, as long as Pombon, the fire dog, does not wind up on two legs, they'll be happy. I guess people get upset when they wind up on two legs. I personally like the two-leg Pokemon, so I don't know.
I think it's just like I read this thing a while ago where it was like in Gen 1, you kind of have all these iconic Pokemon, but they look more like animals. And then
Hmm.
in subsequent generations, and you can like notice it with these three starters, is like the the eyes of all of like the lower evolutions are really big as to look cute, and then like
Hmm.
the typically a lot of the final evolutions are kind of like designed more so to look humanoid rather than
Hmm.
animal-esque. So I think that's where a lot of that criticism comes from. I feel like it's like, I don't know, whatever. To
Usually,
me,
like my party always has like I have Lucario, Pangoro, Delphox. Like I just have a bunch of bipedal like Pokemon, so I never really noticed that that was an issue that people had until I
yeah.
heard the grumblings, and I think it maybe stemmed like back during Incineroar. They're like, "Why is this cat wrestling like monstrosity now?" Like,
You
you
know,
know.
I have to admit, I hated Incineroar when I saw him, but he did win me over with his wrestling moves. Yeah, I that's not like a big issue to me. Honestly, you kind of already touched on my biggest issue for Pokemon here, and it's just like they could use a completely new art style in terms of like their actual humanoid characters, and
Hmm.
probably like the world in general. I think that is more so like the thing is like the Pokemon art style has been the same for like the last 20 years. Like we've been talking about
Yeah.
everybody's kind of sick of the Breath of the Wild art style. Like the Pokemon art style has been the same. It's probably actually longer than 20 years. So I think is a fair critique,
Hmm.
particularly with like the humanoid character models like these avatars and winds and waves. I mean, they look the same as every Pokemon game that you've ever played.
Hmm. What I really appreciated about Legends ZA is like I feel like the customization was through the roof. Like this is
Yeah,
the best customization game there is. And I used to think Sword and Shield was the best one. So like the hairstyles, the eye styles, the clothing styles, incredible. I had so much, it was so fun that I was choosing a different outfit every single day. Like I never do that in Pokemon games. I was like changing my person's outfit. And so I am hoping that Winds and Waves doesn't take a step back from that. I'm hoping that they continue with like that kind of,
yeah.
uh, or at least, and I know I've had an argument, maybe not an argument, but a debate with Corey about this, where like
Go to hell,
in
Corey.
in in Violet and Scarlet and Violet, you're basically just in a school uniform, and sure you can adjust your glasses or your socks or your hats or your backpack, whatever, but like you're kind of just like mandated to the school uniform. I don't want that again.
Yeah,
Like get rid of that. I thought that was BS. So I really like that. And again, I'm like I want them to, I like the older people. I know that like it's not just us they're catering to kids too, but like it was really fun playing a more older person in Legends ZA. So
yeah.
yeah.
Did you ever watch Pokemon Concierge on Netflix?
No, but I've seen like clips. It's super cute.
It is very cute, and that art style is stunning. Like it looks really fantastic. I think like for me, it's just like, man, I would love to play a Pokemon game in that art style, or just like at this point, like any art style that's different, you
Hmm.
know. And I think if they did that, they would find that people are like very receptive to it. I guess I can understand why they don't. Maybe they're worried that like people will be confused, or I don't know. But yeah, that would be like you have an entire game like that. Like I just think that would look so great. Um, but yeah, Winds and Waves comes out next year, and you've even got some cool outfits for Pikachu as well.
Hmm.
Tropical outfits. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think this one is going to be the one to get me back on the Pokemon train after taking a little bit of a break after Pokemon Legends. So, that is exciting. Um, that's not the only Pokemon game that just came out though, Al. And you know what? I scoffed when I saw this, and maybe not wrongly, because I do have some critiques about this game just visually, but Poketopia has released, and by God, this game
Poketopia.
isn't that what it's called? Poketopia,
Pokopia.
Pokopia, whatever. Pokemon Animal Crossing has released, and it's like I read that this is one of the highest reviewed Pokemon games ever.
Hmm. So when we first saw the trailer for this, I was kind of like, you were like, this is right up your alley, Alan. I'm like, yeah, it is. I don't know. Something about it is like kind of like not hitting exactly. Like I felt like, yeah, I'm gonna get it, but I don't know. Something about it wasn't hitting. But then like the most recent trailer came out when they were like getting ramped up and marketing to release it. And I was like, this looks so much better than the initial trailer. And like more, I guess more information came out about it. And I was just like, wow, this looks like way more exciting to me now. I don't know. Something about the first trailer wasn't hitting for me. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I pre-ordered this game a month ago with the Pokemon Center because they were giving away a free Ditto with it, like a free Ditto plush, and I was super
I
excited
thought
about
the
the Ditto plush.
protagonist was Ditto.
Yeah, so like
Oh,
there's
it
this
was a
little
plush.
plush. Yeah,
Okay.
and so I was really excited about that. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this cool Ditto plush and I'm gonna get the game. Well, they Thursday come and goes, and I'm like, am I getting this game today? Like, normally when you do it through like GameStop or Amazon, you get a day of or whatever. And I didn't get anything. I saw like the shipping thing. Oh, you'll get it Friday. So I'm waiting all day Friday, and then by like 3 o'clock, I get a email notification saying like, oh, your stuff has been delayed until Monday. So everybody's playing Pokopia but me. I am feeling like major FOMO because I missed out. My stuff got delayed. I'm really disappointed. I was so tempted to just go to the store and buy it or just digitally buy it, but all the stores are out of stock. And yeah, anyway, so I've just been missing out all weekend and it's been kind of a bummer. But like you said, it looks like the highest rated Pokemon game. I saw maybe some questions about that. I think the reason maybe it's rated so highly is because it's different. Like, yeah.
Let me try that again
Mhm.
because I muted myself. I think a lot of these games are rated quite high. Sorry, we had dog versus cat here for a second, so I had to step away. But I think a lot of these spin-off games are rated quite highly. There was a DS game I was looking at called Pokemon Conquest, which is like a tactics style RPG, which I thought would be really fun, and that was also rated quite high. So like I think at this point, yeah, like a lot of people, and Arceus was the same thing, like it kind of like sort of a spin-off, but like it was
Mhm.
different, and I think a lot of people responded to that. So yeah, I'm not surprised that it's rated highly. Like it's a good formula for success.
Mhm. I'm really excited to get my hands on it. This morning, I got a notification that it's in Spokane, which is 2 hours away. So, I mean, if their schedule allowed it, it could get here by the end of the day,
Hmm.
but I pretty much probably won't get it until tomorrow. And which is a bummer. And then I'm out of town next weekend, so that's even more of a bummer. I probably really won't get to play it for like 2 weeks, but oh well, it is what it is. From what I've seen, everybody is really excited. It has been having a blast playing it. Hard to put it down. I'm super stoked to finally get my hands on it, and Yeah.
Yeah, like this game isn't for me. It's not made for me. I'm never. I've tried with like the like cozy kind of farming sim game, or just like whatever, I don't know what you'd call this genre, like the Animal Crossing style game, and it I don't know, it hasn't sunk its teeth into me, really. So I'm happy that it like seems like it's really good and that
Hmm.
people are enjoying it. And I think this game is going to be like a big success, like a big
Hmm.
success. I think it is going to perhaps like outdo one of the Legends games. Like I think that's how successful this game has the potential to be.
Hmm.
I look at this game though, and I gotta say, like I am just like, this game like looks inexcusably bad
What
for
do you mean? I think it looks great.
a Switch 2 game. Like I think that, and maybe it's the art style, but like the graphical presentation of like the grass, the trees, the backgrounds, it just I think it looks, this game looks like it should have came out on like the Wii.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking up images and I think it's the art style. I
It
think
could be.
that's
It could be.
because for the art style, like I could understand maybe you're not liking it, but like it looks still visually pleasing. Like everything looks crisp, it looks colorful, vibrant, lively. That's what I look for when I'm looking at like how a video game looks, and I think it looks really good. I'm really excited about it.
Which is great.
Mhm.
I think my baseline here, and obviously like it's tough because like I'm looking at screenshots, I'm not seeing it in motion, but like
And you could also like you have to build up this world, right? So you could also be looking at like the very bare minimum of what you start off with. Whereas, if you get
yeah,
a solid 200 hours in, it's going to look amazing.
I like that. I don't know. I'm more so talking about just like how like the textures of like the grass looks, or how like
Hmm.
the buildings look, and like I'm watching the trailer again right now, and like and like even the water, like it kind of looks like it's going for like Wind Waker, Link's Awakening vibes. But
Hmm.
I there's something to me where I look at this game and I'm like, I think like Echoes of Wisdom looks like way better to me.
Hmm.
And I think that that's been like a common thread in Pokemon games for like the last little bit. You know, that we've seen, I mean, Legends Arceus and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet definitely got beat up for how like how they looked when they came out. Not how they
Hmm.
played, but how they looked. And I just look at this and I'm like, man, I don't know. I think we could use some more investment into that like R&D department to make this look a little bit more robust. And I guess you know what, to be fair, Animal Crossing does the same thing. It's not like that game's blowing people away with how it looks, and it doesn't need to either.
Hmm.
But yeah, I cannot lie to you and say that I don't think that looking at this game.
Okay, I accept that. I think that this is a you problem. So,
It could be, yeah.
um,
I mean, it's one of the highest rated Pokemon games, so it definitely could be.
yeah. But that's fine. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's like the same when you say you don't really care for the art style of A Link Between Worlds, but I love it. I think it's amazing. So I think it's just different preference. There was another drama that popped up because of this game that I wanted to talk about a little bit
Okay.
with this game and also the announcement of Gen 10 being Switch 2 exclusives. So I remember leading, like, we got the Switch, right? And leading up to just now, before these announcements, I feel like people were out there like, where are those Switch 2 exclusives? Like, the Switch, what's the point of buying the Switch 2? Why do I need to get it when I can just play these games on the Switch? And now you got the Switch 2 exclusives, and people are mad. Why are they only putting games on the Switch 2? Why can't I play this on my Switch? And it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, I just don't think anybody could be
Dude.
happy. So it's like it's so funny because I saw the opposite debate up until now, and now it's switched on its head, and it's again the opposite, and it's just kind of funny. I don't know. People just can't be happy.
um yeah, I mean, like, I'm sorry. Like, the Switch 2 has been out for going on
Almost
9
a
months
year.
now. Like, buy Switch 2 if you want the newest games. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know what to say. Now this particular game isn't a great case for my argument here, but like, if you have a game like Metroid Prime 4, which is the best looking game that Nintendo's ever made. But imagine what it could have looked like if it also didn't have to run on the Switch in some capacity,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like, yeah, like I mean, I Switch too,
Yeah.
and I know
Yeah.
that they're crazy expensive, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But
Yeah.
there is like you do need to have your console having exclusive games. Like it's just it has to happen.
It is, yeah. And of course, I'm not speaking to, this is like a very specific subset of this argument. I'm not speaking to the people who are like, I can't really afford a Switch 2 right now, so I'm a bit peeved that I can't play this new Pokopia game. Totally, like I get that and I feel you. And I am hoping that you can get your hands on a Switch 2 here in the future, especially with the next thing we're going to talk about. But yeah, my gripe is mostly with the people like who are just refusing to get the Switch 2 because they just like are mad about it, and then they were like, I could just play all this stuff on my Switch and it's fine, and now they're mad because they have to get a Switch 2 to play the nicer games.
Yep, there it is. Well,
I don't know if I was very eloquent with that and I just sound kind of bratty. I'm sorry.
I mean like it. Yeah, I like. There's only so many ways you can put it. Like, a new console is out. What are you expecting? Like, they're going to support this new console. I think that there was like that buffer period where, like, okay, you have Legends, you have Prime, you have, a couple games still trickling out for the Switch, but like the door is kind of shut, like on that, right? Like, I don't anticipate Nintendo doing what like Sony did, and it's like here's the PS4 version and the PS5 version of the same game, because like
Mhm.
that is a big reason why I haven't got a PS5. I'm just like, whatever. If I want to play Horizon Forbidden West, I'm gonna play it on PS4. If I want to play Final Fantasy VII, probably gonna put it on PC soon. So like,
Mhm.
with Nintendo, for better or worse, you know that you're not gonna get that, and you know that they're just gonna be right on the new
I feel
console.
like what was the reason Sony did that is the reason Sony did that because of the very low number of PS5s that were able to like it was just so hard to get one for 2 years. So they were like, we have to like release these games on PS4 as well.
It could be, yeah. I mean, it could be both of those things. Like there is a like a gajillion PS4s in the wild, so this makes sense. But also, PS5s are hard to come by, so it could be. I don't know, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's just one of those things where like this is what you should expect going forward.
Hmm.
The next Zelda game is not going to be on the Switch. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, Al. Let's we've covered some really epic battles here in the Zelda Cast in our time. We've got Link versus Ganondorf. We've
Oh my
talked about
God.
Mario versus Bowser, Samus versus Ridley. We've talked about DK versus King K. Rool, but now we have one battle to trump them all. No pun intended.
Oh my God.
We have Nintendo versus the United States government coming up next as your big battle. And I'm gonna give a shout out to my co-host Doominal Crossing here. He said probably the funniest thing he's ever said in his life. 'Cause as soon as we posted this, he posted the GIF of Mouse from the Matrix being like, "Neo is fighting Morpheus," and I thought that was so funny. But yes, Nintendo is suing the United States government over the tariffs put in place last year by U.S. President Donald Trump. Um, you might remember there was a lot of talk about the Switch 2, and if it
Hmm.
was going to release, if it was going to have a price increase, if it was going to be delayed in the United States, and luckily a lot of that was avoided. But I think in the last year you have absolutely seen Trump kind of just use these tariffs like a kid picking candy at 7-Eleven in the 5 cent bulk bin there. And this week it's tariffs for this amount on a country. The next week it's this amount. We're reducing the tariffs. We're increasing. It's led to a lot of instability in the world economy. It's led to sky high prices in almost everything in the United States. Correct me if I'm misspeaking there, just going off the data that I've kind of seen, but it. I don't know that these tariffs have necessarily done anybody any favors. Is that fair to say?
I don't know. I can't really speak on them because I feel like there's really conflicting information no matter where you're looking at it from. So, to me personally, I know that I think a lot of it was revoked a few weeks ago, if I'm remembering correctly. And so that's what brought about this lawsuit, right?
Yeah, so and it's worth noting too, Nintendo is not the only company suing
Right.
the American government here. You've also got UPS, FedEx, Barnes and Noble, Costco. They are all suing the government here. Um, and yeah, like the primary. I'm just gonna read right from the suite here, or right from the story here, is that you're right. The global tariffs were largely struck down last month by the Supreme Court, and there is a conversation to be had about like the United States needing to pay back these tariffs, and I think Donald Trump had I don't know tweeted, but whatever on that other social media platform it is, he made a post about like, well, if the United States government has to pay these back, we're gonna go bankrupt because of all of the money that this is kind of brought in. Um, but yeah, so there's a pretty extensive there's a pretty extensive lawsuit that is going on over with a lot of these different companies about or versus the United States government. So the lawsuit names defendants the United States Department of the Treasury and Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent, Homeland Security and former Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. You've got a couple other people in here as well, including a border protection and Commissioner Rodney Scott. So those rods out there are just causing chaos for everybody. Um, but yeah, so the complaint basically says that President Trump and the tariffs since February 2025 they have been executed unlawfully, and there have been unlawful orders when imposing tariffs on imports for a vast swath of countries. And the company is asking the court to refund with interest tariffs paid. And yeah, Nintendo said Nintendo has standing to sue because it is the importer of records for goods that were subject to IEEPA duties. And I'm trying to see what the heck the IAPPA, whatever I just said, actually was. There's a story up. Here we go. It's the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977. So there's a really great story that's coming out, I think, today on ZeldaDungeon.net that is kind of like detailing this. There are literally over 1,000 companies suing the United States government. So this is a big deal. Like this is a
Yeah,
really big story.
my question is like I would have to look into this because I know this isn't like the first time this has happened. It's not like the first time that the US has done tariff stuff. So like was there this kind of situation in the past where there was like the lawsuits against the US, and how did those go? Like was it just a settlement? Did they win? Did it just get like I don't know, brushed under the rug? So I guess I would like to know the history just to see if I can like in my own brain
Yeah.
determine how this will go. And then I guess my second question after that is like once the dust settles, like will the Switch prices go down? I know we were into like wondering if they would go up because they were pretty pricey to begin with because of tariffs. I don't think that they did, but it's still a really pricey console, and that's why I wanted to like backstep what I was saying earlier. Like I know not everybody can just up and go buy a Switch
Yeah.
too. Like I get that. So like would winning this be beneficial for the consumer too, not just the company, you know?
I'm going to give you my uneducated answer because I would need to
That's
go and
where
look
I'm
at this
coming
as
from too.
well.
It's an uneducated like
Yeah.
questions.
To answer your second question first, my gut would be like there is almost no way that the Switch would go down in price because of this lawsuit. If it's going to go down in price, it's just going to go down because like that's the right thing to do for
Hmm.
Nintendo and their business. But I would imagine, you know what? First and foremost, I would imagine that what is happening right now geopolitically is going to, at best, keep costs as are. Um, I'm sure you've seen what the price of gas is this last week, and I
I
would
mean,
anticipate that getting higher.
I live in Washington and we've always been like the second worst in gas behind California. So like I don't know how it is for everybody else. We've always had crappy gas. So
It might get crappier. Like it might
yeah.
get a lot crappier with everything going on, and so like that, I would just say like my gut says like there's probably no way that it's coming down.
Hmm.
And I think that I don't know. I'm my uneducated guess is that like should this settle, the United States government will be paying out like billions of dollars to all these companies, if not more than that. Based on the light skimming that I did yesterday, and again, I'm no expert like at all, so take this with a grain of salt. But my gut would say like if you're in the United States, I don't know that this is going to be a net positive for you, no matter what the outcome is, because like, um, so going back to your first question, like tariffs have been used before for sure, but they are typically done in a punitive way. To the best of my knowledge, they're typically done in a punitive way to a country. For example, like Russia has tariffs placed on them because of what's going on with Ukraine, and that's just one example of them. Whereas what Trump did is basically tariff everybody, and that's I don't think that you've seen tariffs like this on the level of this before. I don't want to talk too knowledgeably about this because I don't know. I've done a little bit of research online, but certainly not enough to tell you or anyone listening that I am an opinion worth listening to. That's just what I think. I think that this is a little
Hmm.
bit different than other tariff situations in the past, because I think typically those would be somewhat unilaterally agreed on by some of the world powers. So like you would see United States and Canada and Britain and France, et cetera, imposing the same tariffs.
Hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes, what happens. I know it's kind of like I've kind of done, like, these deep dives in different companies and, like, when they have lawsuits against them, and they'll say they won when really they settled and
Of
that kinda
course.
stuff, so, like, it'll be interesting to see the language on multiple sides of this, like, what Nintendo will say or what all these other companies will say or what the US government will say. I always try to like what you just said, I always try to go in with a grain of salt because I feel like, the information we get nowadays can be skewed either way, like, from any direction, so I kind of struggle and I try to have a questioning mind no matter what I'm seeing, and it just you always just have to wonder, like, no matter what's going on.
Yeah. You are definitely not going to get the full story coming out of this administration. I think that is apparent. So we'll see what happens if anything happens. I think ultimately this kind of comes down to the Supreme Court, and largely a lot of the new Supreme Court attendees have been handpicked by Trump. So are are they going to be willing to go against President Trump? We'll see. We'll
I mean,
see.
they were if they revoked the tariffs to begin with, so I mean, there's a
Yeah,
start there.
yeah. So who knows? Just the latest development in uh,
And of course, this is something that could take years to figure out.
yeah.
Like, this is just like it could take forever.
This reality show called The United States of America has been premiering in 2016. I'm almost ready for the season finale. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I feel like that's said every year.
yeah. So we'll see what happens. I have a hard time imagining, no matter what the outcome, that this is gonna bring down costs for anybody. Because that's one thing that was a promise, and I think we can all say has not been met, is that things are literally more expensive than ever, and that's everywhere as well, just with the entire global geopolitical landscape. So we'll keep our eye on this one as we go forward. um, I think that's all the news that we have, Val, now that we've been going
Well,
for almost an hour. Am I missing something?
this is something for me and for the
Oh,
people
that
who like this game.
that's right.
Um,
That's right. I did miss something, didn't I?
Yeah, okay, so Zelda didn't get their 40th anniversary, Pokemon did, but also Stardew turned 10 this year on February 26th, I believe. And so that was really exciting. We got a whole like 20-minute video from Concerned Ape. He kind of went into the development of Stardew. It used to be called like Sprout Valley or something, and he showed us like the first model and like the second model and the fifth model. And it was so fun to see like the development of this game. Like I'm so glad this game isn't called Sprout Valley and stuff anymore. But it was a really cool video. He had a lot of fun commentary. He's kind of just like this goofy, awkward dude that like built this game in 4 years by himself. Incredible feat. It's got over 41 million copies sold at this point.
Crazy
Insane.
success. Yeah.
Crazy success. And it's incredible. He's coming out with a 1.7 update. All his updates are free. He's just like such a cool developer that you just don't see with everywhere in gaming anymore. Anyways, he announces two more marriage candidates, and I think he is such a troll for what he did. So I know this doesn't matter to you, but I know this matters to some people. So there's this character in Stardew. He's like the blacksmith, and he's got a major crush on another character, and he's kind of a little bit creepy. He's kind of like that quote unquote typical nice guy, like, oh, I'm always lonely. I always come out on bottom. People don't like nice guys, blah blah blah, that kind of guy. And everybody hates him. And for the longest time I tried to like defend him, and then like this last playthrough I did, I was just like, God, I can't stand this guy. Anyways, Concerned Ape announces him as like the next marriage candidate, and everybody's just like, what? What do you
So you
mean?
married him, right? In game?
You can't, not yet. When
Oh,
1.7 comes out.
jeez.
So, and then of course he announced another person that everybody was anticipating and really excited about, Sandy. She's super awesome, and her name isn't really Sandy, but so maybe we'll get to know her better. But anyways, everybody is just losing their minds about Clint. And I see Concerned Ape update his started website, and he's like, everybody's really excited to marry Clint, right?
Hmm.
Right? He knows exactly what he's doing, and of course everybody's talking about the game again. He knows how to market his stuff. So I think it was super funny, super trolly. We're going to see how Clint's going to shape up, I guess, by the next update. We don't know when it's coming out, but it was just like it was really cool to have even a fun like just a simple celebration of an anniversary. So I think that's another thing that might push for people to be a little upset that we're seemingly not getting anything for the 40th anniversary of Zelda. So
Hmm.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, fair. I was reading about that actually. Like again, like that kind of game isn't my thing, but I will say I have like a lot of respect for Stardew and like what Concerned Ape has really been able to make. Like I mean, like I don't want to say out of nothing, but like it seems like this game kind of just like came out of nowhere, right? And like
Hmm.
was a success on the scale of like an Animal Crossing. And yeah, so I think that that's a great achievement. I think that like the amount of people that are still playing this game and just the life that it's taken on is really something that you should be proud of, and you really like to see like that and like the age of like these ginormous studios making, spending forever to make a game and spending however much that takes and laying everybody off after. It's nice to see a game like this
Hmm.
have so much success. And like, like one of the things that struck me playing Metroid Prime 4 is like when I was playing that game, I was like, I feel like as I'm playing this, I felt like Nintendo hates me as a Metroid fan. Like, this is not a game for Metroid fans. This is a game for non-Metroid fans. And there's something to be said about like making your game. You have all these Stardew fans, and it's just like, here's something for Stardew fans. Like it's just like it's nice to see a fan base kind of get rewarded versus I think a lot of times like these big game companies are more interested with like bringing in new people versus just like catering to the fans that you have and trusting in that those fans you'll find more of them and you'll make more of them just by doing what you do well. So I have a lot of respect for Stardew about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I
You need to
definitely
message
think like
Sam and get her to buy it. I've been working her and she's like, well, I don't know if I want to buy like the phone version, but we
no, not the phone version. It's not the optimal version in my opinion, but
I might give her
it's
I might give her my Switch one to play Stardew on.
it's definitely really good on the Switch one.
Yeah.
It's such a good time, and like I know that it's not a standard that not every like company can cater to, but like This guy, he did this by himself for 4.5 years. He made this masterpiece, right? And then he continues to update it. He does have a small team now. There's some like tweaks and some stuff that doesn't always go right. Like for example, with 1.6, he releases it on the PC first so that he can fix bugs, and then he sends it to the ports. Well, the ports took forever. It took about 9 months for the ports to get, so everybody who was on a console couldn't play the update
Right.
unless you were on PC. So there's hiccups here and there, but this guy, he just like he's just an incredible developer, and he kind of like beats to his own drum. So I don't know if that's a saying, but I really admire him. Like you said, you got to respect the guy, you got to respect the
Totally.
grind, and you kind of wish that other developers and other producers would be like this guy.
Yeah, totally. So, congrats to him and to the Stardew fans. You know what? I was making dinner last week, Al, and I had my music on. I have a Bluetooth speaker. You know what song came on?
The horseradish
The
jam.
Horseradish Jam, and I thought of my pal Al. I think
I
that's a
love
great
it.
little tune. Um,
Yeah.
you know what? The other thing that we mentioned too, that we wanted to talk about, and then I promise we're going to talk about some Zelda here. But there was a Nintendo Indie Direct that took place.
Oh, yes, correct, correct.
And I'm not going to say there wasn't like a big Zelda like presence, but I did think that the announcement of Blueprints on Switch 2 was pretty cool. I've heard it's really great. So I might check
Mhm.
that out after I'm kind of I've been on a big Fire Emblem binge here, and I'm trying to actually like play the Outer Wilds and then Cyberpunk, because then I got to start playing some Zelda games for the marathon. So I want to do
Mhm.
those, but I don't know. I might check Blueprints out because I thought that it looked really cool. And another game, I'm not gonna get this. It's not on my radar, but I think it might be on yours. Is the
Yeah.
sequel to Moonlighter, which we did cover for Inspired by Zelda. I wrote an article about it way back when, and it's kind of like a mix of like a dungeon crawler mixed with like shopkeeping, and you sell stuff, and
Mhm.
it was a fun little game. I don't know that I loved it enough to get the sequel, but I had a good time with it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't think I actually like completed it. It's got that like roguelike thing where you go in the dungeons and every time it's different.
Yeah.
And it's kind of got that Binding of Isaac feel. So it's really fun. The shopkeeping part was like the most fun for me, like the management part. And that's kind of how Haunted Chocolatier is going to be whenever Concerned Dave finally comes out with that game, where it's like you'll kind of do a dungeon crawl and then you come to your chocolate shop, make chocolate, and sell it. But anyways, you got a second game, and it looks like the village got they had to move away and start up a new village, so you have to start up a new store, and like it looks the fighting and like the monsters that you encounter look like revamped and like updated and really cool looking. So it looks awesome. I'm excited to get my hands on it.
Here we go. Okay, so that's all the happenings in the world of video games in the last week. Al, can I just assume that you did not pick up Resident Evil 9, so we don't have to talk about that?
No, I did not.
That's too bad, Al. That's too bad. Said it's supposed to be excellent, and that's another one. I will play that game eventually. I've heard that it's absolutely exceptional. But let's do a couple of quick daily debates here and talk about Zelda, and then we'll jam on out of here, Al. And we'll start off here with the one that I really wanted to talk about this week, which was a daily debate that went out from Jackson Leduc, and this one was what top Zelda moments were missing from our ranking.
Hmm.
Great question, because I feel like we talked about so many
Yeah.
that I'm just like, what was missing? And I've got a couple that I can think of that I think were pretty cool, and maybe we could just kind of go back and forth here. I do want to just start off and just really quickly just say again, for me personally, I would not have advocated for anyone else to have this moment, but I just want to shout out the first time I walked into the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time. That was so exceptional to me. That was like an out of body experience where I was just like, whoa. Like
Hmm.
these video games, it's not just like fun jump Mario whatever shenanigans. It's like you could tell like a real artistic story and get emotions across. So that was kind of like an awakening for me in a sense, because I'd never felt anything like that. Um, So that was one, and I actually think like one of the big ones that we maybe missed and we didn't advocate for was in Ocarina of Time and heading up the stairs and hearing the piano. I know
Yeah.
that Rod had kind of said that like well we weaved it into the final battle. I think that one could have actually stood on its own to
Hmm.
me.
I agree. Like you going up the stairs and like, well, even just like slowly ascending the tower and having the music get louder and louder. But yeah, those final stairs with like the stained glass windows, and then you get into the room, and it's like it's really cool in the OG, but it's really enhanced in the 3D version. Like the lights from the windows is super like just like an incredible setting to have this final battle, and then like Ganondorf just shattering them is like so cool. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. What did you have, Al? Anything that was missing on your end? I got a couple more,
Well,
but
yeah, so I wonder if this kind of like is in the same zone as you're walking into the forest temple, but like the first time you discovered the depths, I feel like
sure.
especially if you're discovering it outside of the quest line that takes you there. Um, I know I've talked about this on the show a lot, but I just like I talked to the well lady and then I went down this random well like somewhere else away from her because I'm like, "Oh, I'm supposed to go discover wells." And I'm just like, "I'm not landing. What is this weird music? Why does
Yeah.
everything look red?" And like it was just like this crazy, and the fact that we were like Nintendo hid this. Like there was no news of this. So it was such a shocking moment, and I feel like everybody had that experience in one way or another, especially if you discovered it outside of the quest. So I don't know. I feel like that was a really impressive thing to happen that we were all collectively surprised by the depths.
Yeah, like they really didn't promote that. Like you knew that there was something from the trailers, like something
Like
dark and something.
chasms. I think
Yeah,
they like just put chasms on the description on the back of the case.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too. No, that's a good pick. I'm gonna go over to A Link Between Worlds. I'm
Mhm.
surprised that this didn't make the list actually, but
Oh, yeah.
I think the turn by Hilda, like originally where you find out she is actually kind of the antagonist here and she is kind
Hmm.
of orchestrating this whole thing. I thought Hilda was like a really intriguing character in that game and like someone kind of with some layers to them. Um, so yeah, I thought that moment was really great too. I would have also accepted like the ending of that game where Ravio kind of comes in and reveals himself as like that world's Link. I thought both of those
Yeah.
moments could have been on the list and for consideration. And as far as I remember, I don't know that we talked about Link Between Worlds like really at all.
No, I don't think so, which is disappointing.
Not
I
even
mean,
in
I
like
wouldn't
the
I
debating
would
phase
say
for the list.
I would say that those two are probably the biggest moments from that game, to be honest. Like a lot of it is kind of like a rehash of Link to the Past, so I can understand why maybe it wasn't on the list. But
Yeah.
those two moments were so shocking and like jaw dropping. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that Ravio's been Link this whole time, or like the Dark World's Link, you know? So yeah, it was pretty crazy. I am surprised that those weren't on the list as well.
Yeah. I've got uh I've got a couple more that I wanted to shout out, and you know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm surprised that this wasn't on the list either, but I think the scene in Twilight Princess where Ganondorf is like basically killed by all those sages, that's a pretty sweet scene. Like, and actually
Yeah.
I would also advocate like I remember in Twilight Princess like when Zant is kind of freaking out and then like Ganondorf comes in from the clouds. I thought that was like really cool as well. I wouldn't have gone out of my way to advocate for it, but if it would have been on the list, I wouldn't have like shot it down either. I thought that was
Mhm.
a pretty neat moment.
A moment that I have is the revelation that the old woman in the sacred temple is Impa from the past,
Yeah.
and now she's the old woman, and she has the bracelet, and Link, Zelda, and Groose have all built a connection with this woman, and so it's like really sad for her to be like, my mission is complete. I did what I was supposed to do. I
Yeah.
no longer have to be here, and then she just kind of fades, and it was like so sad. Not the same I wouldn't say the same emotional weight as like Zelda and the Crystal or Fi's Farewell, but still very, very deep, very like really kind of kicked you in the gut kind of moment.
A little bit, yeah. I feel like unfortunately for a lot of people, myself included, that kind of gets overshadowed by Feast Farewell a little bit, just
Hmm.
because they happen right after another. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know that a lot of us thought of that, but that is a really great moment. I know for sure that we bandied about like Groose falling from the sky as like a
That's a
moment.
hilarious moment.
Yeah.
Groose, I'm a sucker for redemption arcs, and Groose's redemption throughout this game is exceptional. So like him falling is like his moment of like turning, and it's so like it's a good moment, not just like hysterically, but also significant for Groose's character development.
Yeah, I mean he's got one of the best character arcs in the series for sure.
Hmm.
Um, all right, I have a couple more that I just quickly want to shout out here, Al. And it's funny how things work, and it's funny how things change. But I think it's worth mentioning here. I want to shout out. I don't think you're gonna guess where I'm going with this, but I want to shout out Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity when the future champions come back and save the past champions. Now, in the context of the story, it makes no sense, obviously, but as a moment, it's actually like really cool, and as like a self-contained in a bubble story, it's a pretty cool moment. And I gotta say, I would have never said this like even a year ago, but after playing Age of Imprisonment and just kind of like what a wet noodle that game was, I'm like, you know what? I actually think Age of Calamity got it right, where they just went to this crazy bonkers story that the only thing they needed to do was be like, this is not canon. This is a alternate telling, and it would have been great.
Yeah.
Like it would have been great.
Exactly. Literally, that's all they had to do.
They did not do that, but
it would have been amazing. And it's so unfortunate because like, and I will say this till the day I die. I know I've said it a million times, but like, I can't get behind that stuff. I can't get behind that moment because of how poorly it was marketed.
And
like,
that's fair.
I understand how cool that is in its own bubble, and if it was marketed differently, I get that, but it's so soured to me. Like I just can't get over it.
That's totally fair. I'm surprised I'm saying this myself, if I'm being honest with you. I think like Age of Imprisonment just did so much damage to my psyche, where it's just like, this game should be everything I want. It's canon, nothing necessarily contradicts anything, but like, my God, what that game was, I just was like, you know what? I actually would rather have like a good story that contradicts canon. I don't care. So I'm gonna throw Age of Calamity there.
Way more interesting to talk about for months and months.
It would have, yeah,
on the show.
Okay, and the last one for me, Al. This is a moment I legitimately think should have been in this list. Link gets shot out of the pirate ship in the cannon from Wind Waker. I think is one of the biggest omissions on our list. That's crazy to me. I think that's the funniest moment from the Wind Waker. It might be the funniest moment in the series. That should be on our list.
I personally, like, I think that is hilarious, and I think we talked about it on one of our 40 episodes, but the moment where he's bombed off the island and hits the Tower of the Gods is also, like, so hilarious. Yeah. Especially because he's like, oh, this is gonna blow up, so he runs away, and then it doesn't, and he's like, oh, wait, I'm safe, and he goes back, and then he still blows him up. Like, incredible. Like, so funny. This game is hilarious.
All right. Any more on your end before we move on?
Yeah, though I can understand why these moments weren't there. I don't think they were like super impactful or had any kind of cultural relevance or anything. I mean, they're important and I like them, but anytime that Link and Zelda defeat the enemy together, so like in Spirit Tracks where they're pushing the sword into Maladus's head or whatever that guy's name, and also in Echoes of Wisdom where they're fighting Null together. Like, I just really love these moments. I get so hyped for them, and I'm just like, they're doing it together. You know, Tetra and Link in Wind Waker, you know, fighting with the bow and sword. And it's just like, I really hope we continue with that tradition. Or like the Light Dragon and Link in Tears of the Kingdom. I want more team-ups with Zelda and Link to beat the bad guy, because it's just so satisfying. I love it so much.
Okay. You know what? Mipha and Link on Varuto. That was a nice scene too. Maybe that could have been in there.
Okay.
I think it could have. All right, let's go answer a few more other daily debates before we get out of here. This one is actually also from Jackson Leduc. This is well, here we go. Has Nintendo forgotten about The Legend of Zelda? So the context here is like Nintendo did not post anything. They didn't post Happy Birthday. on in February and wish Zelda well and congratulate it for 40 years. And I'm going to try and present both sides of the argument here, even though I feel like I kind of have a strong opinion on this. But, like, you know what, to be fair, Nintendo did celebrate Pokemon's 30th anniversary, and there was definitely a dedicated direct for Super Mario when that turned 40 as well, and 35. And I guess, like, it's not completely unreasonable to expect that they might have done something, particularly because, like, they're more kind of like game specific or series specific directs happening right now. And you know what, the other thing too is, like, there is like a million YouTube channels out there that are like these
Perpetuating ideas.
Yes, I was gonna use a more strong word, but perpetuating is fine. They're regurgitating this nonsense and these leaks that I mean, like, it's like the Pokemon one that we talked about earlier, like the final starters have leaked. Like, okay, so I think that YouTube, unfortunately, and this has always been the case, but there's just a lot of BS that they will circulate for clicks. I think we all know that, and there is a lot of very, very guilty offenders here that were like, Zelda Direct confirmed, and like,
yeah.
So I can maybe understand that, but like, I gotta just say, like, I thought that the outcry about the lack of the anniversary was just like ridiculous. I'm sorry. I thought it was like, we just had a Zelda game come out less than 6 months ago. We will definitively get a trailer for our live action Zelda movie this year. There's probably going to be another announcement. You know, Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom made like multiple billions of dollars. Don't try and tell me that they don't care about this series, you know? So, and that's all I'll really say.
I mean, I can understand, like, where you're coming from. I think first of all, like, that was a really leading question, purposefully so, just to get the debate going. But,
Of course.
like, obviously, Nintendo has not forgotten about Zelda. Like, incredibly obviously. But I also do support that people were a little bit upset that, you know, they didn't get to see anything for Zelda. When you see incredible things happening for even Stardew Valley, like, you know, Pokemon makes sense. That's like their ginormous, like, bigger than Star Wars, I think people were talking about in the Discord. You know?
Much bigger than Star Wars.
Incredible. And, like a wider array of things happening in the Pokemon world, like the Pokemon Championship, Pokemon Go, which they're doing a 30th anniversary event this weekend, you know, and then Gen 10, you still have Pokemon Legends EA. Like, it's massive. So, like, I get why they focused on Pokemon 30th. Absolutely. So it's one of those things where, like, in my rational mind, I can understand why Pokemon and why Mario get, like, the special kudos and the special directs and the special collectors, whatever, for their anniversaries. I get that. I think the problem is that we've seen anniversary celebrations for Zelda in the past, and I know you're like, well, 40th maybe isn't a big deal, and I agreed with you on 35, but I feel like 40 is a big deal. Like Rod was saying last week, of the life cycle of video games, like, you know, 4/5 of it, Zelda was prominent. So it's just like, it is. I do feel like it is a little bit of a stabbing feeling. I get it. I get why people are upset. I don't think we need to be like the YouTube people, though. You know? Like, there are extremes on both sides of the situation. I don't think we need to be there. But I can understand when people having mixed feelings about it. I get it.
I'm never going to tell anybody, like, not to feel what they feel. Like, if you feel upset,
yeah,
that's like, that's fair. Like, you should be upset. But, like, listen,
but at the end of the day, we will get the things that you mentioned. We'll get a new trailer for the movie. We will get a new game. It will be fine.
Like, I guess my question is, like what did you want? You know, did you want? I mean,
we did a whole episode about what we wanted. Like,
well, I know, but like, we were kind of talking about, like, or let me rephrase. My interpretation is, like, we're gonna get this kind of throughout the year rather than like a specific date. Because, like, okay, you have a direct on January, whatever the day was, the 25th or whatever, and you get your movie trailer, you get your game announcement, you get your this, you get your that. You don't have anything else Zelda for the rest of the year. Then, like, is that better? Or is that worse? Like, did you, like, would a happy birthday tweet have kind of, like, sufficed for that day? Like, I don't know,
I think
but
a lot of people were saying that they just wanted acknowledgement, so maybe just the tweet would have been acceptable.
it could have been, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think too, like, again, like, listen, I come from, I'm a Metroid fan. Like, we go 8 years sometimes without games. I can't think of another series that's really had like a big anniversary push for it. So I don't know. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But
Mhm.
I'm not going to tell anybody how to feel either. Like, if you feel upset by it, then you feel upset.
Yep.
But
Yep. Absolutely.
I, at that same point, will feel like you are being a little silly if you are
I
upset.
mean, we're over here getting like two Kirby Directs for one game. You can't have a little mini 10-minute celebration for Zelda's anniversary.
Well, what do you want the direct to be? Hey, we have nothing to announce, but happy birthday.
Yeah, sure. I think that's what some people, like a lot of people just wanted that, you
I
know?
I think that you would have, if you had a Zelda direct with no actual news to share and it was just like a celebration, there would be way more people upset about that direct taking place and nothing being announced than if nothing had happened at all. I feel very confident in saying that.
Which is funny because a lot of people were like, we just want acknowledgement.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
you can't
same as
win.
the Switch 2 thing.
That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, let's keep it going. We got to wrap it up quick here because I gotta leave soon now. But
Yeah.
let's let's go over. You know what? I like this question. What would a Zelda game with an unreliable narrator as a protagonist look like? And this is from John Lorte. And sorry if I butchered your last name, John, but he's basically just saying, like, talking about Final Fantasy VII is his example, where you play the game and without going into full spoilers, you realize that the information that you have been told isn't reality. And maybe a better analogy for a lot of people would be like Fight Club or like the Joker movie or something like that, where or even The Sixth Sense to a degree, where like you get this information from your narrator, but it's not credible information. Um,
Hmm.
I think that would be really cool. Like if you had
Yeah.
like a game like that.
I think anything with any kind of interesting change or different narration style is always more fun
Yeah.
and more fun to experience. So I don't know what that would look like for I don't know what that would look like for Zelda. I'm going back to something I've been pitching for years, and it's that the main three, the golden trio, start off as friends or something in the beginning, and then like Ganondorf is taken over by the curse and something like that. So any kind of like narration that would deter, or maybe like he has a reason, like Link did something or Zelda did something, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't know, like we don't find that out later, and you're like, wow, Zelda, that was pretty messed up, you know? Like something like that would be kind of cool. I've always pitched that idea, and I've always wanted it to be true. I don't think it'll ever be, but I think that would be cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do one more here, Al. Then we will get out of here. We're going back to our guy, Jackson Leduc. Which Zelda game has the best overworld?
Oh,
It's pretty hard not to say like Breath of the Wild, I think.
yeah. I think Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. I like Tears of the Kingdom because I think the additions are good. Like I like the cave system and the wells and all that kind of stuff, and how things have evolved. But it's hard not to say both because like Breath of
Yeah.
the Wild was there first.
Yeah, I would say like it probably, you're probably right. It's probably Tears of the Kingdom because it basically has Breath of the Wild plus like the sky
Yeah.
plus the depths plus the caves. Um, but my heart goes to Breath of the Wild because I
Yeah,
think
I
like
think
for
so.
me, I'm like when I was first playing it, it was like, wow, this is really exceptional, and it's just something else. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that one, you know, as an honorable mention. I'm a sucker. I'm gonna say Ocarina of Time. I really love that overworld, and I think that overworld is really great. I'm also gonna give a shout out to Minish Cap. I think as a 2D overworld goes, like that one is underrated.
Hmm.
Really diverse areas. You've got kind of a swamp. You've got the haunted area. You've got the mountains. You've got kind of your classics, but in a new, different interpreted way. So I really like Minish Cap as well. And God, I mean, like, how can you also not just say like classic Link to the Past or Zelda as well?
Hmm.
There's a lot of contenders here.
Yeah, I think I like the overworld. If I'm going like 2D, I would say A Link Between Worlds just because of like the cool puzzles that you have with the overworld
Yeah,
and like interacting with the merging. So I would probably say that one if it's we're talking 2D.
yeah. I think, worth mentioning, Oracle of Seasons. I really like that overworld. How you can manipulate and change it too. It's a clever
Yeah.
overworld. Okay, well, I think that's gonna do it for us. Al, you got anything before we get out of here?
No, I know we didn't talk too much about Zelda, but it kind of feels like we were catching up on everything after doing 5 hours of straight Zelda the last couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Okay. I don't want to hear it from anybody. We gave you like a lot of Zelda in the last couple of weeks here. Let us just talk about Pokemon for a minute. All right, that is going to do it for us, my friends. Thank you so much for listening. I want to give a shout out to producer Cal and producer Adriel for always helping us get these shows edited and on YouTube, and of course to our social media manager Jules for just keeping everybody abreast of the latest comings and goings in the Zelda Cast. So shout out to the podcast team here. Yeah, do I want to give I want to also just let everybody know we are doing these shows weekly. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Like, subscribe, recommend, rate, review, all that kind of good stuff. If you got a Zelda fan in your life, let them know where they can get their weekly Zelda fix. We do have a Patreon as well, patreon.com/spnet, where you can get bonus Zelda shows as well, the Zelda Cast XL every single month, plus a whole lot in the archive. So go and check that out. $1 gets you in the door, and there's a lot for you to check out there. Give us a follow over on Blue Sky at Spiteri316, at Allison Aletha, and at the Zelda Cast, and check out ZeldaDungeon.net, and you know what, check out the YouTube page as well if you ever want to watch these podcasts in video form. We're doing it over there. All right, my friends, that's gonna do it for us. We'll see everybody next week. Take care.
Bye.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/thezeldacast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.